Today, I'm joined by the amazing Victoria. She started her yoga journey way back in 2010. Originally from Sydney, she's the daughter of refugee parents. Her story is one of resilience, adaptation, and finding home through movement. Since completing her yoga teacher training back in 2018, Victoria has been teaching her own playful, soulful, and fiery style. In Victoria's own words, come to class for a little sweat, a laugh, and some unexpected discoveries. Or maybe even a yoga pose or two for good measure. I'm so excited to have her on the podcast today. Thank you for joining me.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Really well.
Good.
Really well on this glorious day, clear and crisp.
It's so nice, isn't it? Yeah. So I like this weather where it's like crisp and dry, but like a bit, like
Fresh.
chill. Yeah, fresh. Yeah.
Fresh.
Yeah. And we just did a nice yoga class that you taught.
Yes.
Which was gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely having the room so full of people and seeing a lot of regulars back, having some new people come in, obviously having yourself in the front row, which is always a pleasure.
Oh, I love it.
really
Yeah. You did an amazing job, as you always do. It was we were talking about it afterwards, and it was so invigorating, wasn't it?
Yeah. Even for myself, like I also receive a lot from teaching the class. Like I'm not just up there doing a TED talk or like a presentation. Like I'm in the room with you, walking around and in the flow with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've been doing yoga for such a long time now, since 2010, right?
Yeah.
So what got you into it?
Actually, no, it was a friend of a friend that took me to my first yoga class. She was like super fit. We were doing Zumba, we were doing pole, we were lifting weights, and we did yoga together. And that was the one thing that really stuck was like, oh my gosh, like, oh, what is this? I kind of get it. It kind of feels really good in my body. Having a practice go from something that's very energetic and powerful, but also being able to switch into something quite soft and earthy and grounding. So being able to be in a yoga practice where you can choose to level up and be more energetic or come down and cool down. Whereas you don't really get that in many other movement practices. And life was so crazy and chaotic. I was going out all the time. This is like my past self. I was a party girl. I was working all the time. Obviously in Sydney, the weather's super nice. I was out all the time. I was constantly at the beach or, I don't know, doing something wild. So having a grounding practice is probably what I really needed. And that's what kind of drew me into learning a little bit more about what yoga actually meant other than doing the yoga poses. So from 2010, decided to go to more and more yoga classes, started dialing back on the lifting and the pole dancing and the Zumba and all the very extra activities. Yeah, and then fell in love with it. And here we are.
Did you know much about it before you started then? Or was it you learned on the fly? Yeah.
Yeah, learned on the job, I guess.
Because it sounds like you came to it as like another form of exercise, and maybe you didn't understand your spiritual side of it, and that's something that you learned along the way, is it?
Yeah, it was definitely something that I wanted to do to keep myself fit and flexible and malleable and strong. And then once I started to learn more, well, it was from the teachers. They kind of weaved in the philosophy within the classes. I'm like, damn, that was deep. And then that's what kind of drew me in, was having those moments of like, whoa, that really hit me in the heart. So that was what I was really yearning for, is finding those teachers that weaved in those bits of philosophy. And like also doing like arm lessons and stuff was really cool as well. Like who doesn't want to, stand on their hands or whatever? So being able to do all the cool stuff with my body and learn that side of it, but also have this sort of deeper introspection, which is something that I never really understood what that meant until I went to more classes that introduced more of the philosophy and more like questioning things about myself. I was like, oh, this is more than just warrior 1, warrior 2, da 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 da. There was that little bit extra. Yeah. It was different to lifting weights or pole or Zumba. Yeah.
Because how often do you go to anything really, not just exercise classes, but any activity that you go to in life where you're getting asked, like difficult questions by someone who's like a teacher figure? You don't get that when you leave school. And then also you're not encouraged in other areas of life to listen to your body as well and understand what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And I feel like you ask those kind of questions in class as well, and it's really nice.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you can ask those questions in any movement practice. You can ask those questions in lifting weights, Zumba and pole, dance, martial arts. You can have those moments of introspection of what do I need from this? Am I doing too much? Is this nourishing my heart, my soul, or is it nourishing my ego? And the ego isn't a bad thing. It's understanding the right dosage of when, you do need a bit of ego to turn up to like a new studio or do something brand new, to have that confidence to step through the door. So I think that shift from being like, oh, yoga is this very mindful practice, whereas actually any movement practice can be mindful if you go into it with the right intention. Like I just spoke to someone at the end of the class about climbing, and that is something that I was like, oh, wow, this can be really mindful because you're using your entire body and you're figuring out the puzzle, not only the puzzle of the wall, but the puzzle of how to use your body on the wall. So yeah, understanding that you can have those moments of introspection anytime. Any movement practice can be mindful.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of want to iterate in all of my classes, whether it be yoga, whether it be mixed movement, whether it be whatever it is. It's like, yes, you can be mindful in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And seeing it from this holistic sense rather than getting fit.
Yeah,
Only getting fit.
That's it, isn't it? It's like that encouragement, which I feel you see more within yoga. But yeah, you're right, because you should be connecting with your body whenever you're moving, shouldn't you? But yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't do it enough, and that's why I come to yoga for that. But I need to be more mindful when I'm doing anything, really. So yeah, that's a good point.
It's so hard sometimes. Like when life is lifing and you're so exhausted, you're like, God, I have to go and be mindful now. There's so much effort. So yeah, people come to class so that they can be guided into where to sort of send their attention, especially when you've had a really hard day or whatever it is, especially if you want to switch off. You're not really switching off, you're honing your focus onto one thing. Like if you're lifting weights, the only thing that you're focusing on is picking it up, putting it down, and then picking it up again, and focusing on your technique. You're not thinking about, the person that cut you off earlier to try to get your car spot. You're thinking about what you're doing in that moment.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Because one of your teachers who teaches here, he always says it's mindful, not mindless.
Yes, or mind empty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So, I really appreciate that saying, because, sometimes there is that idea that you go to yoga to just not think about anything, but actually you're thinking about your movements, your breath, and that keeps you grounded. Another thing that we've discussed is like, past, present, future. And a lot of the time people think you should just focus, on the present, but he was saying that it's important to focus on all of them. So
yeah, very true. I mean, it's one of those things where it's the rhetoric of just leave everything at the door. What, you're only in the present now. Don't worry about what happened to you earlier today. It's like, well, it's really hard not to think about that when you have an injury or something. You have to be thinking about how to manage what happened in the past so that you don't continue to hurt yourself even more, and then thinking into the future about how to prevent that thing from happening.
Yeah.
So it's all connected, and we have to, bring in the past, the present, and the future into our practice so that we are awake and open and being mindful instead of mind empty. It's Aaron. Love him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I quote him quite often. So I'm like, I know exactly who you're talking about.
As soon as you said mind empty, I was like,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I think that's what people forget is when you come to class, we're here to pay attention, to switch on. We're not here to tune out. We're here to tune in, as cliche as that sounds. But sometimes we just need that reminder. We're living in a world where we sit in front of our computers quite a lot, tapping away 9 to 5. And we've got like the blinders on. So what happens when we take the blinders off? Are we taking in everything around us? Are we looking at the trees? Are we stopping to smell the flowers? Like, are we actually doing that? And I think sometimes we forget to do that. And we forget that it is easy. It is easy to be mindful. We don't have to overthink it.
Yeah.
Or create a place where that is the only place that we can be mindful in it, you know?
Yeah.
So when we're thinking about our mental health or our physical health, you know, yoga can happen anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a yoga studio on a mat wearing your yoga clothes. Yoga can be walking quietly in the woods and taking in your surroundings, looking at the change in the seasons, you know?
Yeah.
That is also yoga.
Yeah, I love that. I know that's the thing, isn't it? Expanding what we think of as yoga, because traditionally it's packaged and sold to us as in a studio with your Lululemon on or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not that at all, is it? And yeah, it's really nice to be brought back to that. And also just be reminded that you could be doing anything, but as long as you're being present, mindful, thinking about everything in a holistic way, you are practicing yoga as well.
Yeah, well, everything, you know, that you do with an intention has a purpose, and everything with a purpose is done with an intention. Like how you cook your meals at home. If you've taken the time to go and, you know, to the farmer's market to pick out the perfect tomatoes or whatever it is, you're looking and feeling and using all of your senses to think about how you're going to make this beautiful meal and nourish yourself. And the cooking process, you're not just chucking a packet thing in the microwave, you're being very purposeful and very intentional about how you cut it, how you know, cook it. Is the heat too high? Is it too low? What fat is it salt? Do you need more salt or whatever it is? And it's the same in your movement practice. Am I putting too much heat into it? Am I adding too much? Do I need to peel back the layers and make this meal a little more simple? You know, it doesn't have to be so complex for it to be nourishing.
Yeah.
That was a really good metaphor.
Yeah, I love
I'm
that.
glad we got that.
You're like, I'll
Your
use that
movement
next
practice
time.
is like a meal.
How did growing up as a daughter of refugee parents shape your resilience and how you brought that through into your life now?
I didn't really think about it when I was a kid. It's just how we lived, you know. And as I got older, I really started to appreciate how much my parents sacrificed for my sister and I to live a comfortable life and be able to be successful in not so much financially successful, but being able to go and understand more about ourselves as individuals. I guess the resilience side, yeah, I don't really think about that when you're constantly in survival mode. We didn't have that much money growing up. My mom is from Laos, my dad is Cambodian, and they immigrated to Australia in the 70s. So, you know, it was a really hard time for them to understand. They weren't much younger than I am. I think they were in their mid-20s when they had to flee, and it wasn't a choice. And I'm very grateful that I can move freely around the world by choice and for fun, not because they had to survive and escape war. So, yeah, seeing their resilience and just being like adaptability and just like, well, we just have to do it. We have to learn to speak English. We have to find a job. We have to make money to live rather than survive. How do we do that? And I guess in me, that kind of instilled this understanding of seeing the resilience in someone else and being empathetic and sympathetic to someone that might not be going through the same thing or has ever experienced my struggles, but being able to understand that it's all relative. Everyone's going through stuff. And being able to take a step back and be like, whoa, okay, yeah, this is important to you and this is meaningful to you that you express this in whatever way it is. So I guess the resilience that I've learned from my parents or just, you know, growing up in a very low income household has allowed me to feel empathy and sympathy for people that are struggling in whatever it is that they're going through. Like at the moment, we're working with a group called Culture Bridge, And they help refugees integrate into society here, help them with feeling connected, especially after escaping a war and having nobody left in their family or feeling so disconnected from their culture. And Culture Bridge brings them together and they have meals together and they sing together and they do creative workshops together. And we've come on board to offer mindfulness practices. So at the moment, we're doing yoga once a week with Culture Bridge for women refugees. And we had our first one last week. It was the most incredible experience with one of our teachers, Ariane, who's fantastic, so intuitive. And we had to have an Arabic translator with us. I've never heard a yoga class being translated into Arabic before, but it was melodic. Wow, it was incredible. And just seeing these women feel comfortable enough to do something that is not normal in their culture, to be separated from their husbands, to go off and do their own thing, and feeling comfortable enough to leave the hotel that they're living in at the moment and feel safe, and also having one of the women feel safe enough to take off a hijab. So being able to create a space like that felt so, I'm struggling to find the words to describe the emotions that I felt and to articulate how wonderful it was to see these women women who've gone through so much to just live, to just survive. So just listening to their stories and how harrowing it was, you know. And what was amazing was that the way that they spoke about their story was just so casual. And there's me with my jaw on the floor with a lump in my throat, be like, hey, don't cry. And it was being able to empathize and see them thrive in this new space. I guess that made me reflect on the things that my parents had to go through to integrate into a country that is not their own, to speak a language that is so far removed from something that they know, to integrate into a culture that is so far removed from anything that they know. So I guess that resilience kind of led me into having more understanding of how to be more empathetic, to other people's struggles.
It's amazing what you're doing. I think one thing that you mentioned there about not really realizing the struggle that you've been through sometimes because you've just had to do it. Speaking to those women refugees, speaking to your parents, I'm sure they're very stoic about it. And they're just, well, we had to, what else could we do? And, at the moment we're living through quite a turbulent time, aren't we? And there's a lot of differing opinions about what's happening right now. But I think another point that you mentioned was about how it was a necessity for them. It wasn't something that they wanted to do. They didn't want to leave their country. They just simply didn't feel safe anymore. And do you feel, comfortable to speak about that and kind of give a bit of a view maybe from the people that you spoke to that's come to your class and also maybe things that you've heard through your parents, just to give a bit more understanding of other people's experiences?
I think that when you have such a large dysphoria of any culture in one area, that's safe. And that's what I realized with my parents is they didn't really travel too far out of our community. They didn't really travel too far from the spaces where they knew that Southeast Asian people were welcome. I mean, Australia can be a very racist country sometimes. Not that I've had experienced it much in my life, but I know that my parents did for sure, especially when, they used to own a convenience store. They had a little corner shop. And there were moments that my parents sort of they didn't divulge too much because I can understand that it was very traumatizing for them and they didn't want to keep bringing it up. But there are moments of PTSD that my dad definitely brings up when he tells stories about the Khmer Rouge raiding their village and them having to run away and camp out and have to hide weapons on their body just in case, someone came for them, and having to steal food. And, my dad always tells me this story of when he was younger in Cambodia, having to be a runaway because he didn't want to be inscribed into the military. just climbing trees and like stealing chickens in the middle of the night. And just the way that he was telling the story is almost like, ha ha ha, this is a thing that I did as a young man. I'm like, oh my gosh, you were literally doing that to eat food. And it was really interesting, the way that they spoke about it was so blasé in the way that, it was just normal. Whereas I've never been through war. I've never had to learn a language to assimilate into the country. And just listening to the stories of the women that came through the doors for the refugee yoga session. They were just so happy just to be out from the hotel, speaking with other women from their culture, being able to share a practice that was a bit intimidating for them because they were wearing a hijab, fully clothed, probably have never moved their bodies in that way before. And what I really loved was, even though I told them, you don't need to do anything, you can just relax, have a cup of tea, have a pastry after the class. They just wanted to help clean everything up because that's just what they do. They want to help, which is mad. They have so much to give when they have nothing. And they're so willing to share their energy with someone else and so happy to like share their language with you. I don't know how many ways of thank you we learned. I think we learned like the Kurdish word for thank you, the Turkish word, the Arabic word. I was like, okay, I'm going to need to write these down because I couldn't remember. But they were so eager to share their wealth with other people and they have nothing.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing, was they were so selfless. And that's what made me even more inspired to do more for them, right? How do we support you even more? So we watch this space.
Yeah, that's really
come.
powerful. Putting it like that, it's making me feel emotional. The fact that they have nothing to give, but they want to do anything that they can. And sometimes the rhetoric that you hear is like that they've chosen to be here. I definitely don't think that's the case. It makes it feel like they're happy about being here, but they don't, maybe people aren't understanding just how scary it is to do something like that and go through what they've been through, and actually just how grateful they are as well to have safe spaces. But yeah, thank you for the work that you're doing and also for shedding a light on that, because I know that it's a topic that's really interesting right now. So thank you.
Of course. I'm an immigrant to this country. I'm brown, this is not my culture. So I really feel so privileged that I came here as a choice. I came here speaking English and with skills. So I can't imagine how difficult it is for someone like me to understand someone else's story if they don't try. And I think that everything that the climate now in terms of immigrants in this country is a lack of knowledge and a lack of willingness to be empathetic and understand why immigrants and refugees are here, why people are seeking asylum. What does that even mean to the individual? And how does that directly affect the local community here? Is it positive or negative? And I think people forget that all of these people are coming here with nothing, but they're still so eager to offer everything that they have. I'm so certain they would offer the shirt off their back if I was cold.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
I think they're the most wealthy people in the room when they're here.
Yeah.
So, I really hope that there can be these moments of eagerness to learn more, to understand. But we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. One podcast at a time. No, that's exactly it, isn't it? And as an immigrant myself, and I can't even imagine what these refugees have been through to be here. But sometimes even at the minute, I feel unsafe, and I've lived here the majority of my life. So that's why I just think it's really important to create these safe spaces, what you're doing, and let them know that not everyone feels the same way, because that is the only way that people are going to integrate into society, is not if you segregate them and make them feel othered. It's about involving them. And I just think that's all that we can really do.
I think we just need to share more good news. Because there's so much awful news out there at the moment. So if I can spread the word through movements, through socials, whatever it is. But there are so many people doing such amazing work with lots of different groups out there. Just need to put a little bit of effort into finding all these good news outlets. Yeah, because we need that too. We all need a nervous system reset sometimes. Yeah, I think we've all trauma bonded through COVID. So we need a little bit of good news in our lives to share.
You're right, because it does just help you feel more positive about what's going on. So obviously you found yoga through, well, a friend, as you mentioned, but what was the moment where you knew you wanted to teach it and not just simply practice it?
Oh, I think I was in London at the time. I lived in Bethnal Green, so I was practicing in a studio called Stretch, which unfortunately isn't there anymore.
I love Bethnal Green, by the way. There's this pub there called the Dundee Arms that does like the best cheese toasty. Have you had it?
Yes.
So good, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Stockport is the new Broadway market. Who knows?
Yeah, good comparison.
On the underbanks, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. I guess this is one of those things that I was obsessed with. And the more I became stronger, the more things I could do with my body. And I was like, well, this is really fun. And just talking to other people in the yoga community, I was like, oh my gosh, I have friends that are interested in the same things as me. So I moved to London in 2015. I didn't know anyone. I just came on a whim. So I felt very lonely at times, but learned a lot about how to be independent and learned so much about myself in London. And yeah, when I started practicing yoga, that's when I found my people. And I was like, oh, I miss having friends and I miss having a community around me. I miss having, someone that I can call up and be like, hey, do you want to go get a really expensive oat milk flat white and do some yoga? Just nice having a community. And that's kind of really what drew me in, is that the movement world was very welcoming. There's so many people that have so many different movement practices. They're like, oh yeah, I want a little taste of this, a little, yeah, what are you doing over there? So it was very inspiring meeting loads of different people that were really good at loads of different things. Yeah, I think I was just addicted to meeting more people and being like, so what do you do? It's like, oh, I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You should come. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I love that. I think especially since COVID, and I think a lot of other people have been craving community, because during that time, we became so online that you just forgot what it was like meeting new people and being around different people with different energies. And yeah, like even now, that's something that I really look for, is community when I join anything, whether it be a yoga studio or whether it be, I don't know, Stockport's a perfect place for it. It's funny because you can like look out and see the markets as well. But here there is just so much community, because you'll walk through the markets or walk down the underbank and you just get to know people, don't you? And I think that's a wonderful reason to start anything, because
friends.
Yeah.
Making friends as an adult is hard.
Yeah.
Like unless you're like going to work and you see the same people quite often, yeah, they're going to be your friends. Or like going to school, you're going to see the same people. But what happens when you don't have that? You work from home. How do you meet people anymore? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you make friends when you're in your mid-30s? I don't know. Just go and do some activities, I guess.
That's it.
Or if you're
isn't
anything
it?
like me, you just approach someone that you think is cool. It's like, do you want to be my friend?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's it, because I did this video about how when I was a kid, my parents would take me to so many extracurricular activities. And at the time, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've got to go to another one tonight. I'm just tired after school. Can't just stay at home and watch TV. And now I'm like booking myself activities and I'm like, oh, what can I do next? Maybe I do badminton, maybe I do this.
Yes.
And it's just funny how life flips, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's really hard for adults to make close friends anymore, because when life is lifing, people have kids, move away. How do we keep those relationships and connections and keep those bonds? Of course, people drift away or drift apart, how do you bring in new people into your inner circle or whatever it is? Yeah, so hopefully our studio's one of those places where you can meet some friends.
I definitely think so. And also, they do say that when you're with someone, if you're doing something and not facing each other, you know, like we are now,
Yeah.
you're apparently more likely to open up, because facing someone and opening up is actually a lot harder than if you're doing something, if it was yoga or maybe pottery making or painting. It's a great way to combine an activity alongside getting to know someone else.
I think when you have spaces where people can be themselves, they're not in there, they don't have their work mask on, they don't have, you know, whatever other masks that you might wear, your gym bro mask or like your yoga bunny mask. When you have a space where you can just be yourself, whatever version of yourself wants to turn up that day. If you're really tired, like, yeah, some days, you know, I'll still meet up with my mates and be like, oh, I'm pretty cooked today. Like, let's do something really chill because my body is saying no, but I want to hang out with you.
That's another thing as well, patterns that you fall into, not just in friendships, but in families or like any relationship that you have. Sometimes you can be the younger version of yourself and you're seen as a certain person within a friendship group or within the family dynamic. And actually, maybe you've grown out of that, but you're not going to stop being seen as that. And finding new friends or finding new activities is a way to be able to express that new part of yourself that you might not have been able to.
For sure. What's that saying? The only thing that's constant is change. We're forever evolving. You know, even if you've done an activity for 10 years of your life, like yoga, it's forever evolving. If you've been in the same job for the last 20 years, you've changed. Your job has probably changed. It might seem like you're doing the same thing, but there is this evolution of yourself. You're learning so much more about what you can and can't do, what you want to do, what you love, what your ambitions are, what are your values, which is something that we spoke about in class today. What is it that you want to move towards? Is it the same as it was 5, 10 years ago, yesterday?
Yeah. And it's okay to embrace change as well, isn't it? Like what you're saying. I think sometimes we can be so fearful about changing, but it's okay to move forward and be okay with changing yourself and also okay with change around you. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to embrace change for sure when you know that the safety net of knowing what your job is going to be, knowing, you know, where you want to have your coffee, what's going to be good there. So, yeah, I understand how hard it is to embrace change, especially when the unknown can be so far removed from what you do know. And it's something that I sort of say in class quite often. The only way to make something unfamiliar familiar is to keep exposing yourself to that thing, right? Whether it be movement, whether it be culture, whether it be food, whether it be a town, an activity, the only way to make it familiar is to keep exposing yourself a little bit, little pieces at a time. Although if you're anything like me, sometimes you just throw yourself in the deep end. You're like, well, I'm either going to sink or swim. No, but I'm trying to take a leaf out of my own book and just kind of like, okay, let's dip up my toes and see what I like. If I don't like it, I don't have to go back. You know, free will.
That's
Yeah,
the
we
amazing
have the
thing.
freedom to choose. Most of us do anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, changing how we think about some change and something scary. It's like, how much am I exposing myself? What's the dosage of this thing that I'm experiencing? What's the intention? What do I want from this? Do I want to throw myself in the deep end and just be like, whoa? Do I have the people around me to catch me if I fall, to have someone to lean on if I'm like, oh, not sure about this thing, or like, oh my gosh, look at this new thing that I discovered. I just want to talk to you about it. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
You know, so who are in your periphery to just talk about it and be humans with and share feelings? And yeah, I think that's what we forget, is to just talk about random stuff with our mates.
Talking
As
is so powerful.
mundane as it might seem, you know,
Yeah.
when we talk about that's our lives. It doesn't have to be all this extra crazy stuff, you know.
Yeah. And even with strangers, that's one thing this has really taught me, is just talk to people, because what you might learn is incredible. And everyone has something to teach you.
That is scary, talking to strangers. I think if you have a space that encourages that. There are lots of spaces that encourage talking to strangers come to the studio, or things like Neurowavy in Livenshoom, where you can just go and hang out with other neurodivergent people and know that you're going to be understood. It gives you that encouragement to be like, oh, I can actually be myself and meet other new people that are like-minded. And also, if I don't want to, nobody's going to judge me for just being there, having a pint to myself. That's also scary. That's quite a big change for some people. So I think there are more spaces like that. It's just taking that little step forwards to like, okay, I know that they're not going to judge me for who I am. I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
Most of the time it works out pretty well.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate that it has worked out very well for me. And just meeting people is hard work sometimes, especially when it's your job. You're constantly around people doing podcasts. You go talk to people, you go share your energy. So holding space with people, yeah, challenging sometimes, but worth it.
Definitely worth it. So I know that you mentioned this before, but yoga can feel intimidating to beginners. So how do you help people feel at home when it's their first time on the mat?
Oh, I guess not to make it such a big deal. If it's their first time here, it's hard already. I don't want to make a big show out of it. So I usually just introduce myself, introduce the space where everything is, and just let them settle in their own time. And then have a chat with them if they're going to tell me they have something that I need to know about, whether they're working with something in their body or if they're really unsure about something. They're probably going to tell me themselves. I don't really need to, ask, is there anything you need to tell me? They will usually just tell me if they want to. But yeah, I just kind of let people just settle in their own time. Usually it's so busy that there's stuff happening around them. So they're not just sat in a room in silence. They can kind of just arrive, slowly settle onto a mat in their own time, and then we'll just kick it off. I think that's the best way to do it. It's not to make a big deal out of it.
Definitely.
Just calm. We're all people. Yeah. Sometimes we're really good at yoga, sometimes we're really bad at yoga. It's not about being good or bad at yoga. You can't win at yoga. My good old mentor, Carl, always said in class, you can't win at yoga.
I've heard that a lot as well. Thinking back to when I first tried yoga, when you go to class, you think, oh my gosh, everyone's going to be looking at me. And like, if I don't know a certain pose, what if I do something wrong? But then you do it for a while and you realize, one, no one's really looking at you. No. It's like anything in life, isn't it? Because you're thinking, oh my gosh, how did I come across in that conversation? Blah. But actually, a lot of the time, people are just so focused on their own practice. And also, number two is, after doing it for a while, you still get things wrong all the time. Sometimes you're saying one thing and I'm doing another thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I forget what a hand is. Put this thing on the floor. Put one of these down and the other one up.
Yeah. And as someone who's so bad with their lefts and rights, then sometimes I'm facing a completely different way to someone else. And I think that's it, isn't it? Because whenever you join anything, you worry that you're going to be bad at it. But I think you mentioned this before. You flow in and out of different states, don't you? Like today after class, I know I mentioned to you, I'm not feeling my best, so I didn't know how I was going to perform in that class. But actually, it was just what I needed. And yeah, there was definitely some postures that I just couldn't do. And I just went into child's pose and,
And that's exactly what you needed in that moment.
Yeah.
I think people forget that when they come to yoga, whatever movement practice they're doing, we're not here to be perfect. We're just here to be humans. We're not here to just do yoga. The yoga happens way before you even turn up. When you choose to come to a class, when you're like, okay, I'm actually thinking about what I need for my mental health, my physical health. I want to be in a community. The yoga isn't just doing the poses, it's everything on the periphery of that. So I think when people come for their first time we're just here to be humans together.
Yeah.
We're just here to be people. It's all right. You're a person, I'm a person. It's going to be fine.
What's a mantra that you've learned from yoga that's really helped you in your wider life?
Good one. That's a good question. I think one is, what's the purpose? When I write classes or when I'm doing my coaching or one-to-one mentoring, a question that comes up a lot is, well, what's the purpose of doing this? What's the purpose of doing this breath practice? Feeling are you trying to elicit here? What sensation are you trying to bring up from this pose? What's the point of taking a bind? What's the purpose of binding? or not binding the arm. But what's the purpose of doing a full split? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you have to. Like, what's the point? What's the point of coming to yoga today? And that's something that I try to integrate into my everyday. What's the point of choosing this very specific path that I take the dog? You know, what am I trying to experience here? What's the purpose of working from a co-working space and working from home? Am I going to be more productive? I don't know. Probably yes, because I struggle to work from home. Yeah, so it's the why are you here? Why are you doing that thing? Only you can answer that question. No one else can answer it for you.
That's a good one. I don't think I ask myself that enough, because
Why am I
sometimes,
in child's pose?
sometimes you just do things like, say, for example, you were talking about walking the dog, because you've done that once and then you're just going to keep on doing that. But yeah, it's a good thing to stop and ask yourself. And I'll do that more.
What's the why? Or why not? Could be the other way. Why shouldn't I drop a message to my mate that I've just been thinking about? Why not? You know?
Yeah.
So why? What's the purpose? I think that's the one thing that I integrate into, try to anyway.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Why should I have a pint in the sun today?
Why not?
Exactly.
I like
It's
that.
nourishing for my soul. Sorry.
It is nourishing. So in what ways do you think that movement can help people feel grounded, especially in times of uncertainty?
I guess it's coming home to this body when you're thinking about so many different things in your life. When life is life, work is working, kids are being kids, parents are being parents, his brothers are pulling you in loads of different directions, your friends pulling you in so many different directions. How do you find your way back to this? Yeah. How does it feel to just to be yourself again? You know? So movement definitely brings the focus back to here, especially when everything in your life pulls you away from your center, from your home, and asks you to go and be this and do this, or think about this person, or think about this other thing. Yeah, so I think when you have your movement practice, with your breath practice, with your meditation practice, it brings you back to here, so that this can be stable, this can be a strong foundation to whatever else you're supporting in your life. Yeah. And you can kind of figure out what you need. How can I be supported by my partner, by my friends, my family? What do I need from my people? Yeah. Every interaction's a two-way street. How can I set healthy boundaries for myself so that my cup isn't always emptied into other people? So I think having a movement practice definitely helps you figure it out. And it's hard. It's going to change all the time, forever evolving, right? So I think that's how you feel more grounded, so that you can learn more about yourself.
I like that. Yeah, because you do spend, especially I think I do, spend so much of my mind outside of my body and not really focusing just on little things where it's like, oh, what's my toe doing right now? But like when you're here.
I like that. I don't think I've ever used that as a cue. But I wonder, it's like, okay, I want you to all think about what your little toe on your left foot is doing.
Next time.
Oh, I love that. Okay, that's really cool. I'm going to bring that in.
Oh my God, me teaching you something.
Yes,
What the heck?
I was so mindful.
But no, I really do love that, because so even today, I woke up and I was thinking about coming here and doing this, and, like, you're not focusing in on yourself, are you? And when I got onto that mat, and as soon as you were like, sit in your seated position, I just straight away felt like back into my body. And it's a really nice place to be sometimes.
Yeah, when, you can hone in your thoughts on something a little more specific, a little closer to here instead of being so out. But, your brain literally has one job, is to think. So it's impossible to clear your mind or empty mindless.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So if that's your goal, you're never going to get there. You're already setting yourself up for failure,
Yeah.
So if you can kind of let yourself go through the processes, there's lots of techniques to sort of hone in your focus on something so the thoughts aren't so scattered, and to sort of put some of the thoughts into the background as like white noise, you know, so that something becomes a little clearer. Yeah, it's hard. It's a practice.
Yeah.
You're not going to be perfect at it the first time. And yeah, your brain is constantly, it literally has one job, that it's constantly thinking. But how do you bring yourself back? That's the practice. Because when your mind starts to wander off, how do you come back to the anchor?
You put that so well about your brain being a thinking object. So, like, how can you stop it from doing that? Because I remember when I used to meditate and I was told to just keep making a noise, you know, like it could be or it could be, you know, whatever. Or you could think about like a drip of like a drop, you know what I mean? A drip of a drop, and you just keep repeating that. But it's so boring that I felt like my mind was constantly wandering from that space. And I know a lot of people can do that. I think maybe I'm just a bit scatty. But then
Well, you never know. They could also be struggling with the same thing.
True.
You just don't know.
Yeah. But then when I'm doing yoga and it's like, it's okay just to think about what my body's doing and where this hand should be or what, you know, any part of your body should be doing or how I could open up more. And I am thinking, but I'm only focusing on that. And that helps me be more meditative than if I'm just trying to say like 100 times.
Yeah, well, to each their own.
Yeah.
You know, yoga isn't for everybody. But yoga, you know, is a label for mindfulness. Climbing can be yoga. Like, it could be anything. Yoga can happen anywhere while you're doing anything. So I think people need to remind themselves that to do yoga. You don't have to do asana. Asana is the poses. That's just one little petal of the whole yoga flower, right? What makes the whole flower, you know?
Yeah.
That's sort of pulling the thread on
Is it
some
like
philosophy.
Is it like there's like 8 limbs of yoga?
Yeah, that's one.
And it's like, isn't it that 5 of them are not movement?
Yes.
And 3 is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I can talk a lot about the yamas and the niyamas. That's for another podcast.
Yeah, we'll do one another
I don't
time.
think we have time for that. But yeah, your body is simply, or the way that you move your body is simply the doorway inwards to what's happening introspectively. What if it's running, if it's swimming, whatever activity is, that movement practice is you simply walking through the door to ask the questions of what's the purpose? Why have I chosen this door to move through? You know?
Yeah.
Why didn't I do the other door? Why have I chosen yoga instead of climbing, or climbing instead of yoga? What's the purpose? What's the point?
What does it bring me?
Exactly.
Right, you ready for your rapid fire question?
I guess.
round? They're fun, so don't
Okay.
worry. I always think
I feel like
they're
I need to
fun. Don't worry, there's nothing to be worried about.
famous last one.
I know. Imagine. Favorite yoga pose?
Shavasana.
Yeah, mine too. It really is. I especially love it when you get the blankets out and your little like eye bean bags. Yeah, they're so good.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah. A yoga pose you're still trying to nail.
Handstands.
Yeah, I don't know how people do them.
Or Shavasana, just being better at Shavasana.
Really? I love Wait, how can you be better? I want to know.
I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. What's your comfort TV show or movie?
Ooh, comfort TV show, Friends. Comfort movie, Mean Girls.
Wow, didn't expect that, but yeah.
So mindful.
Yeah, it's very peaceful. A common misconception about yoga that you wish you could clear up?
That you're not flexible enough. Total misconception. You wouldn't go into a weights gym and be like, oh, I can't pick up that heavy weight. No, you start from body weights, you start from the smaller weights, and you slowly, gradually build yourself up. You don't turn up to a martial arts gym expecting to be a black belt. You turn up, you start off as a white belt, then you gradually progress. You learn, you grow. Sometimes you regress, and then you leave it for a bit, and then you come back. So that's the misconception. Oh, I'm not flexible enough for yoga. No, yoga isn't about being flexible. Yes, one petal of the flower.
I love that you You've always been like this, and a lot of teachers in this area are like this, but they will always say to make sure you use the props. There's no shame in using props, and like they're there to assist. And that's the thing, because before you go in, you're like, oh, maybe I'm not good at it if I need to use props. But actually, sometimes your arms just aren't long enough to like reach the ground in the right way. Everyone's built so differently, aren't they? So yeah, I've definitely let go of that ever since coming to you and going to different practices. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I say all the time in my classes is props that you're using do not mean you're shit at yoga. Blocks do not mean you're shit at yoga if you need them or you want to use them. You might not even need them, but you're like, actually, I'm going to give myself a break today. I'm going to use a block. That's an experienced yogi, is someone that can make that decision for themselves, is when they're choosing to use that.
Yeah.
That's what an experienced yogi is. You know, not being able to do handstands or standing on your head or doing the splits. Yeah, you can be an inexperienced yogi, but still be able to do those things with your body.
Yeah, I like that. And if we're bringing it back to your meal analogy, it's just about thinking of a different way of preparing a meal, like, you know, grating the tomatoes instead of chopping them.
That's the why. Yeah.
Bringing it back. I love it. What's one book that's changed your perspective?
Oh, Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. It's a book that my partner gave me, and I didn't think I'd be into it. It was translated into English, from Polish to English. And it changed my perspective on myself, because I thought that I was not a strong reader. Not to say that I can't read, but reading books was not something that I found joyful. I did find it relaxing, but I couldn't focus. Yeah, so that was the one book that I was like, oh my, I get it. How people can just go page after page after page after page. But the things in that book made me think about why someone wants to live in solitude. Because I spent a lot of my life was being this very extrovert person, being very like, I need to have friends to understand who I am. But yeah, a lot of themes in the book is a woman sort of living in the wilderness and like solving crimes. That was also very cool. And I ended up seeing that play at the Lowry, which was incredible. Highly recommended book to read.
Okay.
I forgot what the author was. Olga. I'm not going to ruin her surname by mucking it up.
Yeah, I'll have a look. That sounds really good.
Link below.
You can subscribe for the link. Okay. What's a song that always gets you in a good mood?
I was listening to this morning.
Oh, God.
It was just so random. The Thong Song by Cisco.
I also didn't expect that.
My partner and I, we put it on this morning and we were twerking in the dining room.
That's so funny. I love that.
I don't know why that song popped up into my head, but I'm like, I'm just going to put this on. It was really funny.
That is so funny. That song just reminds me of Glee, because I actually had never heard it since, like, till I watched Glee, and I was like, this is a great song.
Any kind of like early noughties songs always get me into a good mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just like the time of my life where I was very rich in like friends and experiences, and like I had enough money to like travel and like live on my own. So I felt really independent, and like, so any music from the early noughties really makes me feel really good, pumped up. I don't know why the Thong Song came on this morning, but that was the one that, you know, pumped us up for the day.
I love it. I love that. If you weren't teaching yoga, what do you think you would be doing?
I would be running a farm, loads of animals, permaculture, garden. I'd probably be like, oh no, actually, I would be a celebrant so I can marry people.
I love that.
On my farm.
Do
with all my animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love love, and I love people coming together, and I love that, you know, I think that I'm quite alternative, I don't know, but being able to facilitate a marriage that isn't traditional would be quite cool. I just love love. So I'm like, I will marry you legally.
I thought you could do that.
Yeah, so if I didn't teach yoga, I think I'd want to be a celebrant.
Yeah.
With my own farm.
In a few years? Maybe you can do it all. Yoga, farm, celebrant.
Oh, wow. Yes, maybe. Women can do anything. So yes, we can.
my last one.
Okay.
What's one habit or ritual you can't live without?
Coffee. It's a habit. It's a ritual. I love it so much. It's my one addiction, and I'm okay with that.
We all have to have a vice.
That's my one vice, caffeine. I love the ritual of the morning, the smell of the beans. We're one of those, wanky coffee people. We love a good coffee. And it's nice being able to go out and have coffee with friends. I don't drink as much as I used to, so having a social space that doesn't revolve around alcohol is quite nice. And I'm not going to give that up anytime soon because I love it.
I love it. That's us. Thank you so much.
That
You
was
did
so
a great
cool.
job. Well
That was so
done.
fun.